My name's Alan and welcome back to Create a Model Railway. Well, today we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to have a cupper and a catch-up. Make sure you stay till the end because there's some breaking news at the end that you may or may not get excited over. I'm going to get excited over it, whether you do it, I don't know. And also, there's changes in the railway room. All will be revealed in a cupper and a catch-up. So, I'm filming this just after Christmas, so in about the third week of January, third week of January. So as with all people at this time of the year, it's New Year's resolution time, isn't it? And one of the things that I've been quite conscious of recently is the actual railway room. I spend a lot of time in here. You'll not be surprised to know. So you want to make your environment that you're building your model railway in a place where you want to be. It sounds a daft thing to say, but it's true. You know, it doesn't want to all be cluttered up, but at the same time, it is a model railway room, so it does have to have, you know, glue and paint and things in it that you maybe don't want to see particularly, but you know, that are practical to your model railway world. But one thing I have been doing when I'm obviously editing these videos is that obviously you tend to look at what's going on in the video for obvious reasons. And I've noticed that the backgrounds maybe weren't that brilliant. So with that in mind, I've had a little bit of a move around and an update. And I'm going to put a video on in a minute and some pictures of a sort of a before and after scenario. And that actually then got me thinking about the workbench. Because it isn't that big in the room and I needed a bit more room. So the question then was, could Shenton Yard move? Let's find out. So, as you can see, the short answer is yes, you can. So if I start over here, probably the first thing you will notice is that the front of the model railway was that horrible black colour, very similar to the back of that, and I've changed it up. Now what I did was I sort of channeled my inner Blue Peter, and it's basically foam board with wood effect sticky back plastic, for want of a better word, and I'll just zoom in and you can see that it's not too bad. It's not perfect, but it's not too bad, and the good news is it was fairly cheap. And then as we come round, you'll see there's my Christmas present from Santa, Horby Junction. And then as we come round, this is the corner that I'm hoping to use for a little bit more filming. And as you can see, now up here, these are, I don't know what you would call these, sort of 3D wall art, I suppose. And I did these sometime a year, 18 months ago, and they've been sat in a cupboard and didn't really know what to do with them. So there they are at the top of the door. As we come down, as you can see, nice clock that also came from Father Christmas, and a little bit of a shelf that was there before. It's got some cars and buses and things on it, and as we come around, you'll see got some of those tin effect, old style railway decoration, I suppose you'd call it, really. Again, Father Christmas brought those as well, and some of my engines are now out on display. The ones that aren't running, you can see them here, and look at that, look at those beauties there. Now I did sort of say to you about Shenton Yard, could it fit in the railway room? Well, the short answer is yes, it can, and there it is. So there's my Model Lux
3-lane engine shed, and as we come around you can see that it fits on the shelf. The shelf's always been there. It was always going to be lined up for a railway. It just so happens that the yard is come in here inside and is sat on the shelf. So there you go. That's my well, it's probably taken a fortnight, that project. It's not finished, as you can see, but it's looking a lot better than it did before.
So welcome to the new background. Love the sign, don't you? Big thanks to my wife Sue for buying me that for Christmas. Well, of course, Father Christmas bought it, didn't he, really? So, comments. Now, one thing I love about doing a YouTube channel is all the comments that you get. This sort of community that you can build up, and I'm loving this idea of building up a railway community. As I've said many times before on here, you know, I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I build a model railway for me in the way I want to build it. You know, I'm not technically gifted. It's not an accurate representation. It's my representation. And I think that's what I'm trying to get across to people who are coming in. Certainly if you're coming into the hobby, you know, don't worry too much that, you know, the bricks are a little bit too big or it's the wrong train running on the wrong type of model railway. If you're happy with it, then it's good. And I can't go through all the comments because we'd be here for another 3 hours, but a couple I just wanted to mention. First of all, my very good friends, Jen, Joe, Jenna and Wyatt, who are over there in the United States of America. Hi guys. Up in the Upper Peninsula, the UP, which is in Michigan. And they've put on a comment saying it's very relaxing and very informative. So thank you very much, guys. And I must admit, there's been lots of people who've been very complimentary about it being sort of a bit of a laid-back type presenting style. And I hope that comes across, because that's what I'm trying to achieve. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm trying to give you ideas as to how to build a model railway and the planning process and all the rest of it. Now, with that in mind, one of the first people I spoke to were James and his grandson Dylan from, I'm going to make sure I get this right, so I've got it written down over here, Dillington Model Railway. Now, check it out, guys, because it's absolutely brilliant. Dylan's only a young man. I think he's about 13, maybe, something like that. I'm not sure. Apologise if you've got your age wrong, Dylan. But he does these brilliant stop-motion little videos on his 009 layout. And if you've not seen it, check it out. And if you're of a certain age, like what I am, I think I've mentioned it before, it reminds me of Camberwick Green. You know, Camberwick Green, what we used to watch when we was kids. And it's absolutely brilliant. Just something really different. And it epitomises what model railway is all about. You know, it's not all about the Flying Scotsman flying through the countryside. Sometimes it's just about a little railway that you've built in your bedroom or wherever it is. And Dylan, well done, mate. And apparently, Grandad James is planning an 009 as we speak. So good luck with that, James. Let's see the videos. Little One Railway. Big thanks to you. He made a comment when we were talking about building, you know, baseboards, where to build. And I mentioned about garden sheds, outbuildings, that sort of thing. And I said one of the downsides was if you're building with MDF, for instance, that if it gets damp, it can warp. And he very much pointed, well, I say he, could be a she, I don't know. They very much pointed out about security. That was their thing. You know, if you're building in a shed, be very aware of security as well. And I hadn't thought about that, but it's absolutely brilliant. So, you know, you could have an awful lot of money tied up in your model railway, which is in your shed, and that could get very expensive if it went walkabout. So make sure you've got good security on your shed. And I was talking about Daventry Parkway. He's the guy that mentioned about MDF. And in fact, there's a moist-resistant MDF, which I was not aware of at all. He believes it's green. It may not be, but it's used by boat builders, people like that. And basically, it's moist-resistant, so even if it gets damp, it doesn't warp or anything like that, which from a model railway point of view is very good. He tells me it's probably a bit more expensive, but if you are having to build outside in a shed and you think there might be a damp issue in the winter, then just be aware of that. And the other one I just wanted to quickly mention was, well, it was all of you. We're talking about DCC. DCC versus DC, and I think it reflects the actual reality. DCC is not for everybody. Sound chips are not for everybody. Some people like the old ways of doing things. DCC, as we've mentioned before, can be very difficult, very expensive to, if you've got a load of old trains that you have to convert into DCC, put chips in, that can get expensive. And I think what I'm trying to say here is this whole community that we have got going. So keep these comments going, because it's quite interesting that I can share what you're saying. Obviously, people can read the comments as well, and you can learn from it. I've learned stuff already. So keep them coming, guys. Thank you. So let's move on to what we've got coming up here on the channel. Don't forget, stay to the end. Exciting news. Well, one of the things we're going to do is coming up in the next couple of weeks. In fact, it's on the 7th and 8th of February at Doncaster Racecourse, is the Festival of British Model Railways. I'm told there's 30 plus layouts, 60 plus trade stands and clubs and societies. Now you may ask, why are we going? Well, it's an event I've been going to for many, many years. And when I first came back into the model railway world, if you like, it was the first thing I did. And if it doesn't do anything other than inspire you, that's enough. Because obviously you can go there. I warn you now, it will be heaving. You'll be amazed how many people are there, but it's over quite a big area. And it's really just to give you a taster of what to expect. So there's all sorts of different layouts there, from big layouts to little shelf layouts, OO gauge, N gauge, O gauge, TT, 09, you name it, it'll be there. So you'll get an idea of all the different types of railways that you can build. And it just inspires you. There's no doubt about it. You can talk to the people that build these model railways and ask them their experiences. Believe you me, they will want to talk about their model railway. I guarantee it. So go along and have a chat with them. You can even sort of get some ideas around track plans. I mean, obviously you don't want to copy somebody else's, but it will give you an idea. How does a fiddle yard work? You'll actually see one in action. You can see behind the scenes as well as front of house, if you like. Expert advice. There's all sorts of experts there. People that scratch build buildings, electrics, DCC, DC, you name it, they'll be there. So talk to these people. You cannot ever have too much information. And of course, on top of all that, you can spend a lot of the old spondoolies, greenbacks, money. You can buy everything there. Track, locos, buildings, kits, laser cut kits, you name it, you can buy it. Rolling stock, controllers, DCC controllers, analog controllers, screwdrivers, saws, glue, paint, the list goes on and on. If they haven't got it at Doncaster Racecourse, they haven't got it. All the big exhibitors will all be there. So again, it gives you some idea as to price, what it is that you're looking for, what type of kits you can buy, what they're made of, what they look like when they're done. It's a really, really interesting day out. So I'll go along, do a bit of filming. I'm not going to, hours of filming on. It's just to give you a flavour of what to expect when you go to one of these shows, because there's lots of them up and down the country over the next 6 or 8 months, probably running up right till Christmas. We have one at Spalding just before Christmas, which is a great one to go to because it's just before Christmas. A bit closer to home, near in Lincoln, we've got a Lincoln model railway exhibition up at the Assembly Rooms in Lincoln. So I'll take a trip into there as well. Same reasons, much smaller, but the same reasons. And also we've got a thing called a toy and train fair coming up at the Lincolnshire Showground, which is about 15 minutes drive from where I'm sat right now. So I'll go along to that. I've not been to one for many, many years, just to see what you can pick up at a toy and train fair. But of course, that's great, but the thing really to do is to go and see the real thing. So let's do that. So of course, the best way to get inspired for a model railway is of course to go and see the real thing. Now, if you're modelling in sort of modern up-to-date railways and just go along to your local railway station and have a look. But if you're like me and you're modelling in sort of 1960s era, that sort of steam era, then there are so many places where you can go preserve railways. And one of my favourites, one we visit quite a lot, is the North Yorkshire Moors Railway, which is about a 2-hour drive from where we live, and it runs between Pickering and Whitby, and there's lots of advantages to going on that railway. Other than the fact that it's a fantastic railway, you can also have fish and chips for lunch at Whitby. What more could you want? And in a previous video, if you remember, I talked about detailing. And the best way to get the detailing, an idea in your head as to what detailing you want on your railway, is to go to one of these preserved railways, because you can look at the station. What does the station look like? Is it dirty? Is it clean? What's on the platform? Milk churns, that sort of thing. Where do they put the seats for people to sit on? Where's the toilet blocks? Track ballasting. There's lots of different ways to track ballast, but go and see the real thing. What colour is it? A lot of ballasting that comes out of the packets is grey, but a lot of the time when you go and see a preserved railway, it's not grey at all. It's sort of browny black. Of course, it's going to be blacker where the coal is, around engine sheds, that sort of thing, than it will be when it's out in the countryside. You can look at engine sheds. You can look at what does the signal box look like? Where is it positioned? Signals, where are they positioned? Track side, actually go on the train and do some filming of what the track side looks like, what's there. So there's so much, and of course the other advantage of it is you get to spend a day playing on real steam trains. What more could you ask for? So I'm going to do a video from there, and in fact I'll probably do 2 or 3 over the course of, I'm not going to throw all these in the next 3 weeks. This will be probably over the course of a year, 18 months, something like that, because this is a long-term thing we're doing here, hopefully, fingers crossed. And so I'll do a few videos from the different stations there just to give you a flavour of what they're like if you've not been there. Hopefully it'll inspire you to go. And we've got others around here as well. The Lincolnshire Wolds Railway, the Great Central Railway over in Loughborough, Neem Valley Railway down in Peterborough, Peak Rail up in the Derbyshire Hills, Keighley and Worth, I think that's up sort of Harrogate, Knaresborough way, isn't it? Emsey and Bolton, same sort of area. So there's lots of these places that hopefully we can visit together on the channel to give you, again, it's all about inspiration. I'm all for seeing the real thing. Now, of course, I've been banging on about some news, so I guess it's about time I told you what it was. So let's go and find out. So, we've travelled around the countryside, or we will do, but back here at Horb Junction, we've spent the last, 6 or 7, 8 weeks, whatever it is, talking about our plan for building a model railway. Budget, where you're going to build it, what gauge it's going to be, is it DC, is it DCC, the detailing, are you going to build kits, are you going to scratch build, all these things. We've sort of gone through the process, so now you have an idea of how to build a model railway, how to get that planning process. But I think it's about time I stopped talking about it and we actually had a go at it together. So with that in mind, I'm going to build a model railway. Seems like a logical thing to do, given the title of the show. What we're going to do is we're going to follow the process. So we're going to go through all the steps that we've just talked about. I'm going to go through them all with you, and we will create a model railway. Starting with, I've even got a piece of wood. There you go, look at that. I've found a piece of wood. That's my inspiration, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's it, a piece of wood. Can we turn that piece of wood into a model railway? The answer, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is of course we can. So we'll stick to the process. Let's do it. Right, so that's it from me and my friend, my piece of wood. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave those comments as to what you think so far. I'm throwing a few ideas, why not? Leave the comments below, and next time we're going to go back to the start. Budget, space and ability. We're going to stop talking and we're going to do it. So I'll leave you with some train action as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.